Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the relatively common normal flying-type Pokemon Fletchling, the Tiny Robin Pokémon, their uncommon fire flying-type evolution Fletchinder, the Ember Pokémon, and the relatively rare fauna evolution Talonflame, the Scorching Pokémon. While perhaps not the most intimidating of birds at first glance, the members of the Fletchling family are still interesting beasts that can make for a scorching entrance if given the chance to make one.
Fletchling have small bodies covered with grey feathers along their torso and wings, while their head is instead coated in reddish-orange feathers that stand out strongly, with thin three-toed black feet, 2 toes in the front and 1 in the back for stability, as well as a pair of tail feathers with a white V-shaped stripe that comes together when they are held side by side. They have sprigs of white feathers at the tips of their wings, a long, thin black beak, black eyes with white pupils, and a yellow marking on the back sides of their eyes. Their evolved form, Fletchinder, retain the same basic body color, though the reddish-orange feathers on their bodies now extend past their head to cover their whole back, the yellow mark near their eyes has grown longer, and they have a fiercer expression to their face. Their tail feathers have grown longer, with 2 white stripes now adorning them, and the wings have turned black, with gilded yellow ends to them. Their final evolution, Talonflame, once again retain the same basic color scheme as Fletchinder, but they now sport 2 yellow 4-toed feet, 3 digits in the front and 1 in the back, with large sharp black talons, while the upper parts of their wings are reddish-orange with black tips on the outer frame, their inner parts and the whole of their lower frame having a grey color with large reddish-orange speckles. Their tail feathers have grown much larger and feature 3 pairs of yellow stripes across them with a semi-V-shaped form, and their eyes now have a yellow rim of flesh around them with a yellow stripe near the base of their now much shorter, stubbier beak.
The members of the Fletchling family represent one of the strangest bird Pokemon families as a result of their abnormal development and mutation as they evolve.
Fletchling themselves are rather simple creatures and live just as ordinary robins do, the only major difference being that they are capable of actually being used in direct combat. However, when these creatures reach an intermediate stage of development and evolve, their entire anatomy changes radically, and they end up losing their normal type assignment in the process. For reasons that are still unknown, it seems that Fletchling actually possess a flame sac in their bodies, but it is fairly inactive and sort of just sits around like an appendix outside of them being able to learn a weak Ember attack. When they evolve into Fletchinder, however, the sac finally starts to work effectively, and this change is so sudden that it completely replaces their normal type assignment, making them partial fire types instead, and allowing them to immediately learn the flame charge attack. The reason for this strange evolution is still misunderstood, and there is currently little data that explains this, but it seems that fossil relatives to the family may have had the flame sac initially in their development, but lost use of it as infants over the course of several thousand years. Regardless, this makes the Fletchling family one of the few that can actually harness both the power of flight and fire to devastate their opponents, and although the otherwise moderate stats might not make this look like a serious issue, these beasts are tenacious predators that will take every and any opportunity to prove their worth in battle, even if it means taking down the opposition in a fiery blaze of glory in the process. In addition to this, these birds at a young age are noted for the strong pectoralis major muscle and thus have big pecs as their only base ability, while as Fletchling, while the evolutions instead are noted for their scorching hot bodies and access to flame body in its place. But in general, they are all known for their exceptional agility when utilizing their flying type attacks, and can in turn have exclusive access to the signature Gale Wings ability as a hint ability, which ensures that all of their flying type attacks have increased priority when they are at full health. As far as the stats are concerned in the case of Talonflame, it can be seen that while these birds are somewhat weak as adults and cannot offer much in regards to most of their base stats, they are extremely fast moving and can easily fly circles around opponents with these, their base speed stat being above average for fully evolved flying and fire type Pokemon, and in turn possess the highest base speed stat out of all fire type Pokemon, rendering them an annoying force to deal with without powerful rock type attacks to down them quickly with. Unlike their evolved forms, Fletchling are actually fairly amiable creatures and are surprisingly easy to raise, though they are known to show a more ferocious side of battle and can be difficult to handle when excited or touched unexpectedly, as their body temperatures can quickly double, usually burning you if you've made direct contact with them, and spike hormone production in their bodies, making them more rambunctious. This temperature spike is merely a side effect of their natural biological functions though, as they are always warm, and people in cold environments where they occasionally pass by often keep them in their beds to stay warm. These robin relatives often take the time to communicate with others of the same species and family by calling out in a beautiful chirping voice that is just the right pitch to make it more pleasurable to hear in mass numbers than it is annoying, in stark contrast to Pokemon like Starly, though in truth it should be noted that these melodious cries are actually warnings to others to stay out of their territory if they don't want to be mercilessly pecked at.
In some cases, these birds will even go so far as to wag their tail feathers in a unique fashion to communicate more personal messages that are not meant to be heard by all.
Despite this, however, it is advised that these birds not be approached in large numbers because, although they are friendly on a one-on-one standpoint, in large numbers, they tend to be fiercely territorial and will attack intruders with vicious peck attacks if they get too close. Thankfully, their evolved forms prefer to travel alone and are therefore safer to approach on this note, though they are also much more aggressive than their pre-evolved form, so either way they can be a bit troublesome to deal with in the wild. With enough training though, these small birds can easily be made obedient and willing to follow commands in battle with little attitude.
As already noted, the moment after Fletchling evolve into Fletchinder, their dormant flame sacs finally become fully active, and these birds gain the ability to use the flame charge attack.
This is used more for feeding purposes than attack, however, as these birds can emit and or spew hot embers from the mouth to scorch grassland and burn it away, or otherwise set the dens of other creatures alight, forcing out terrified insects and other small creatures that they can then finish off with their sharp talons and readily grill and eat without having to expend a lot of energy in the process. The heat from their flame sac allows these beasts to stay around in places such as the Kalos region even through winter, using their internal flame sac to keep their bodies warm in otherwise deathly frigid temperatures. Moreover, this flame sac acts as an energy source of its own, in that the hotter it is, the more energy that these birds can pump into their muscles, and therefore the faster they can fly. Their speed right after takeoff alone puts them among the fastest of bird Pokémon in the entire world. The only drawback to this power is that the fire in their flame sac is not as strong as that seen in more traditional fire types, so it can take a while for the fire to really power them up and help these beasts get out of a jam. In addition, these birds can be so fiercely territorial and aggressive that they will not stand the presence of another Fletchinder within the borders of the large territorial space, and can thus be a pain to handle, but strict training regimens can easily turn these otherwise rambunctious birds into obedient partners, though they still might spew embers everywhere now and then just to intimidate the other Pokémon that they see.
Talonflame are a significant step up from their pre-evolved forms, and are considered to be among the fastest and most potentially dangerous of fire-type Pokémon known.
While Fletchinder were limited to simply breathing weak embers from their mouth, Talonflame are noticeably different in that, instead of using their mouths, these beasts have developed a series of small flame sacs near the base of their wing feathers that can actually shoot bursts of fire at a considerable distance, allowing them to easily scorch and burn everything around them even while they are in flight, in particular other bird Pokémon, which they dine almost exclusively on. The birds themselves are kept from being roasted by their own flames by the wing feathers, which are coated with a compound that works as an excellent fire retardant and keeps the flames from spreading down to their skin. They are so effective at doing this that in fact in older times, firefighters' outfits were actually made from Talonflame wings. This anatomical shift is further reflected by their combat skill, as their large size and capacity to enshroud their entire wings in fire allows these beasts to learn and wield both the Brave Bird and Flare Blitz attacks, both moves that are highly capable of inflicting massive damage on anything that these birds come into forceful contact with.
Aside from this, they are also one of the few flying-type Pokémon known, along with their pre-evolutions, Skarmory and Corviknight, that are able to naturally learn the powerful Steel Wing attack, and can move so quickly in the air, up to 310 miles per hour, that they are almost impossible to track outside of the embers that scatter from gaps in their feathers as they fly.
Talonflame tend to take great advantage of this in battle, by using their speed to befuddle the bird Pokémon prey that comprise the entirety of their diet, Wingull and Pikapek being particular favorites, and render them unable to track their movements. Once their target is sufficiently dazed and weakened, these beasts will dive straight at them from above and behind them and violently kick them with their large clawed feet, giving them no chance to escape and inflicting both a nasty flesh wound and considerable muscle and or skeletal damage while slamming them into the ground in the process. After this, the birds will grasp their prey items in their talons and easily dispatch them with a final strong physical attack or two, ending the fight rather quickly. Not surprisingly, Talonflame can be a bit on the stubborn side and difficult to control, but they are nonetheless more than worthwhile partners for trainers looking to add a bit of heat to a flying-type assault.
These birds might start out cute and sweet to listen to, but it won't take long for them to become much more aggressive beasts to handle, and as someone that's naturally inclined to stay away from birds in general, having them capable of spewing fire just makes it all the more troubling for me. I cannot deny, though, that these birds can really send others spinning in circles with their dazzling speed and maneuverability. Flying gracefully one moment and then diving at targets the next, these birds can scorch anything that gets in their way and can work as good partners for starting trainers, though some help and patience will be needed before they can get access to the best attacks. Even so, the effort can be worth it in the right cases, especially if they have access to the Gale Wings ability. It might only be good for them if they're at maximum health, but it can make outspeeding them very difficult and allow them in turn to at least get in one good strike before they get hit hard. As such, training them to stay out of range of opponents is the best strategy that can be used at the start of a fight, even if it's just to get them into a good position for a powerful Brave Bird attack or even Flare Blitz.
Starting out as a small package, but otherwise known to be fierce as adults, the members of the Fletchling family are potent birds that can certainly make the most of what they are given naturally. Their type change from juveniles might be a bit surprising to newcomers, but their decent array of naturally accessible attacks and techniques can still give them the tools to succeed in the right situations and embrace this change entirely.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure not to get in the way while they are hunting. They might not always attack humans aggressively, but you might need a visit to the emergency room for burns if you get caught in the crossfire of them releasing burning embers from the sky to the ground to flush out and take down their prey.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.